Think twice. Think twice what you really need there. Salesforce is not a cheap system. It's pretty expensive. Key lessons was that try to write code not for the machine, for the people. I had a failures, but a good thing that result of my failures is experience. That was a rough ride through the last 10 years of my development experience.
Today I'm joined by Oleg Zhurauski, a senior Salesforce developer at Axora Soft with over a decade of hands-on experience building complex Salesforce solutions for businesses using Salesforce. In this episode, we will talk about his journey, mistakes, practical lessons, inspiration, and best practices gained while working on real projects. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, Oleg. How's it going?
Hello. Hello, Max. It's going fine. How are you?
Doing great too. The very first question I wanted to ask you, because I'm really curious, how did you start with Salesforce and actually why Salesforce? And, what keeps you working there in that field, in that domain?
Well, how it started, it's a pretty, maybe, to be honest, not maybe like really interesting story, but I was looking for a first company to work as the software developer. I've switched from the uh, pretty much other industry.
Mhm.
I was working as the mechanic.
Mhm.
Basically, I've got another education on the programming languages. My specialization was the .NET, C Sharp, and I was looking for a company that will employ me. Uh, I don't know. On that moment, I just wanted to start somewhere, and I did not found anything related to the .NET development, but I
Mhm.
saw like I saw that there is a position for the Salesforce development, and at that point, I didn't know anything about this. It was not so, let's say, popular or mainstream, and because of that, I was pretty interested regarding this because it was like all in the server, nothing related, to the desktop that you can develop something and test like on your local machine or all was on in the cloud in the internet. So I thought this is like it was pretty interesting opportunity, and I basically applied to this position, and I've got my first job, uh, and this was the Salesforce development. And after that, uh, let's say I not fully was on Salesforce. The because Salesforce at that time have pretty much limited capabilities, especially
Mhm.
when you're working with files or when you need to do some heavy lifting. So I've always let's say, worked in parallel. My main specialization was Salesforce, but I've always did something to extend Salesforce capabilities. So wrote something in Java, in C Sharp .NET, did some models like for the CI/CD to do some pre-processing of the
Mhm.
source code of Salesforce on different languages. So even right now, it's needed to do some probably it's more quality of life things that I develop for the Salesforce development, but
Mhm.
still. So despite I'm a Salesforce developer, I'm also involving in my work different languages as well.
Mm. Actually, I'm curious, did your mechanics background help you prepare for this, your current role in Salesforce development? Maybe some principles or approaches, or an attitude, something like that.
I would say an attitude helped because when
Mm.
you're a mechanic, you're trying to find what is wrong with the machine that you're trying to work on. This is pretty much the same as you trying to debug the code. You don't understand anything what is happening. You just see this mess under the hood.
Hmm.
So, it's pretty much the same. The difference only that on the when you're a mechanic, you're working with the nest like with the something real. Here is the code, but the principles are the same. You are starting from the most suspicious part and going backwards, backtracking to this third source of the issue that you expecting at least to see, at least expecting. So, yep,
Hmm.
attitude and probably the principles he has definitely help.
Hmm. Okay, I see. And was your the first project engaging or difficult, or was it challenging? What was it like?
Yeah, I would say it was difficult and it was interesting at the same time because, as mentioned already, my Salesforce job was pretty much first one. Was after the second education in the programming field, and I've ended up on a project that involved several banks. They did
Hmm.
their credit conveyor, so all of the checks was done like through the Salesforce, but Salesforce invoked different system, banking system, and all of those checks were done with the design patterns. It was the fabric, and I don't even remember what exactly it was, but for me, like a freshman who just came from the streets to the computer to start
Hmm.
implementing some coding, and I was basically thrown on a project that was existing for 3 years. It was pretty established. It was like OP project, really one. So it was challenging, and therefore it was pretty interesting because I learned a lot from it. Uh,
What
Knowing
are the
nothing,
key lessons you learned from there?
uh, key lessons was that try to write code not for the machine, for the people, because there's always another person who will try to understand what did you made there.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is probably um more general stuff, but from there I've learned pretty much how to interact with the different system because there was an API invocation. I've learned different principles of integration because there was like the general REST integration and as well as the SOAP with some of the more strict services. So I've seen shit, let's say like this. I've seen some shit there.
Okay, I'm actually curious what the philosophy is behind your solutions in Salesforce. Do you have any principles or let's say philosophy behind uh, the Salesforce solutions architecture and building?
I would not say that I have something like my own philosophy, but like, general rule of thumb here. I on the At the start of my career, I was reading, was learning. Salesforce have a good training materials. They have like the Salesforce cookbooks, like they called this at that time. So they are describing all of the principles, how you should model your system, what the limitation of it, what you should definitely should consider. So pretty much it's the first of all, it's Salesforce recommendations. Second is the general development practices, design patterns. Here I don't have my bookshelf, but I pretty much have all of the programming books. Not the ebooks, but the real paper ones.
Mm.
So yep. So definitely design patterns to basically light up the code. It allows you to write code more efficient than Salesforce cookbooks. Some of the recommendations from other languages like On the .NET, when I was learning this, there was a book that called it, I think, Clean Code.
Mm-hmm.
Do not recalling the author right now, but it also helped. It's more applying to .NET development because uh, this book is basically describes like the inner stuff of the .NET compiler and all the rest,
Mm-hmm.
how it's being processed. But like probably 20%, I was able to apply to Salesforce development as well because, as I said, pretty much all of the general rules are applied to Salesforce as well.
What does
And
good Salesforce architecture mean to you?
Salesforce, good Salesforce architecture, well, I would say like for the every other project. Good architecture means that your code is efficient.
Mm.
That means that you are using the system resources efficiently, that it's easy to maintain. So basically, it's all about the resources, how you manage them, um, and how efficiently you manage them. Not 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 much different from the any other language. Because Salesforce right now it's became like other pretty much became the just another one system when you develop something, especially when nowadays always already moving into cloud.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yep, good architecture is good architecture. That's that's despite like the on which platform or at which language you're trying to apply it.
Mm-hmm. What
But they,
piece of Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So but to be honest, like uh I would say that good architecture only worth on the big projects. When you're trying to do something small, some let's say some kind of util, architecture is not so meaningful as when you go in big, go in enterprise. So
Okay, makes sense. Okay. I forgot my question.
sorry,
Uh,
my
let
bad.
me that's fine, that's fine. Um, you know, what piece of advice would you give to someone who's trying to dive into the Apex code, you know?
Um, when someone is trying to dive into Apex code, just probably it will sound a bit bad, but do not just cut down a bit your expectations. Salesforce Apex is not like purely. Uh, no, this is a bit wrong. Salesforce Apex is not average development language. It has its own limitations. I would say some of the instruments that could be useful, probably if you're talking especially about the reflections, they're not there. So you need to think a bit out of the box how you would implement something that you've
Mhm.
learned and on another language, but you cannot apply it here. So, yep, I would say cut down expectations and be more creative.
Okay, okay, I see. Another question that came to my mind is what piece of advice would you give to the business that is trying to implement the system, the Salesforce? They're looking for the solution that will fit, um, that will meet their needs, and they're struggling with deciding what to choose, and what advice they should receive when it comes to Salesforce.
Think twice. Think
Hmm.
twice what you really need there. Salesforce is not cheap system. It's pretty expensive. It's much more expensive than to rent uh, anywhere on Amazon or Azure, like a virtual machine, and spin up your own server.
But would
Salesforce,
it pay off,
yeah, but this is like development of my thought here. But Salesforce
Sorry.
allows you all of the infrastructure out of the box. You don't need to bother with the actually configuring pretty much of the stuff that you will do if you will rent server on the Azure or Amazon. So just think twice. What do you need? Because Salesforce have a big amount of the different clouds, like Health Cloud, they have Sales Cloud, they have a cloud for the technician people, which is Field Service Cloud. Just think twice what exactly you need and what will fulfill your purposes. Because from my experience, companies always buy more than they need. So this decision about the money. So companies should count, and they probably should speak to with someone who knows about the Salesforce, who can definitely advise them. And this is not always like the Salesforce sales representative, because salespeople will always try you to sell something.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, Salesforce is expensive. It pays off with the out-of-the-box infrastructure. It's easy to up and running, but still it's expensive. And just consider, do you need this or that package that they allow? Because all of the add-ons is require extra fees. So just go slowly there, not on full
Okay.
throttle with you burning through the cash pile.
Okay. And if you inherited the messy org with a lot of features there, what were the first thing you would look at there?
First of all, I would say I would look on some of the service features. They are also almost always included, and almost always nobody uses them. So this is something probably that first you can look at. Do you need because their service features includes like messaging stuff, like you can send something to WhatsApp from Salesforce. You can send text messages, SMS, how they called also. And probably you don't need it because you are already using something else for this, or this is a custom integration, or it's a third-party service for this. And this is especially true if the Salesforce is not your only system and you already using those third-party services in your other parts of your like enterprise application. And I'm talking not only about the Salesforce, but about your whole company and your whole enterprise solution. So this is the first point where I definitely would try to look at.
Another question that was on my list is what inspires you in Salesforce ecosystem? Is there anything that, yeah, is there anything that inspires you there? Like it could be any feature in Salesforce. It could be Salesforce Ohana. It could be their meetings. It could be like your project's team or just the architecture type of things.
I would mention here like several things. First of all, what definitely inspired me is let's say from the latest in Salesforce. It was really inspiring when they switched to the modern framework for the web development, which is Lightning Web Components. So because they started to use something that is most people on the earth are using. This is something like resembles the React or Node.js. So that's a good thing. Second thing that inspires me, the let's say clients and the team that I'm working with, because Salesforce, from my practice, from my experience, Salesforce has always like need cozy projects. It's always like the close interaction between the business and the people within this business and you as a developer. So it's pretty much inspiring when you are talking to the people, not only about the work, but you're like becoming. I would not say family. This is too strong word for this, but you're getting like really close, good acquaintances. So that's comforting me on the project that not I'm not only a robot that writes the code, but I'm considered as the uh, person that also like wants to discuss something, probably not always about the work, but yep, that's what inspires me regarding the Salesforce development, especially.
Speaking of the challenges, does hard challenges inspire you when you solve them?
When I solve them, yes. When I face them, no. Well, then,
Okay. So it's about the
but this is
discipline, right?
yeah, yeah. It's about the discipline. You need to force yourself to work on something. And as I mentioned today, that Salesforce have its own limitations. So probably you will face something that you can you would be able to solve it much easier somewhere else on some other language. But when you solve it in Salesforce, that's pretty inspiring. When you have this challenge, you've solving this with the I would say somewhat limited tools that you have on your hands. Yeah, this is definitely this is definitely inspiring, but that's an experience that's from time to time in even a struggle. So, but yep, it is what it is.
Yeah, thank you for being transparent with me. And I'm actually curious. Let's go the opposite direction. What makes you frustrated? Is there anything that drives you crazy, like when you encounter something in the Salesforce? If there's
Or
nothing, that's a cool
no,
sign.
I
Okay.
just trying to decide where to start. No, that's not that bad. I would say that the pretty much same thing that I've just was describing regarding this Salesforce limitation. It's also the thing that probably drives me down a bit because from time to time you need to do something like probably you need to process some files, you need parse a document or a PDF, and you cannot do it in Salesforce. You need to or uh, involve some third-party solutions for this, or you need to write your some custom processing. Will it be hosted on like your machine? You will do it manually if it's like 1, 2 times, or at least it like once a month. If you need to automate, you need to move it to some kind of the server, and all of that you need to, pretty much it's always on you as developer, especially if you know how to do it. So this is something that drives me down a little bit because Salesforce allows pretty much of the stuff out of the box, but when you face the limitations, you need to do something else. You need to bother with all the setup. Um, that's definitely making your experience a bit worse than it could be. And about the other stuff, mm, I would say Salesforce have its limitations on the CPU usage, memory
Mhm.
usage, and nowadays it's kind of a bit, archaic, I would say, when the computers are pretty strong, when the CPUs are fast and the memory are
Mhm.
big, and you have this limit. That's that that's not something that you would expect from the modern system, let's say. Um, but I to be fully honest here, that has a proof from Salesforce side. They do not bill for the CPU time. but there are limits how much you can use it within this single transaction. So probably that's a trade-off, but this is something that you should need to consider, and it could drive you down when you definitely need to do some heavy processing and you're bumping into those limits. So
I see.
that's the second thing. And about the rest, I wouldn't say that there is really something that um, then can make you sad regarding working with the Salesforce.
Hmm. Okay. I feel your emotions. Were there any painful mistakes you've made during your projects and career that were essentially something bigger in terms of your uh, self-development and w where you know you you've been taught something, you you taught lessons and it kept you working further.
Well, I probably can mention three things here. First thing is not related like to Salesforce.
Hmm.
It's more of a from my general uh general stuff. Uh, I was young, naive, and fast to action, and I made part of the project, but I did not fully interact with the client, and I did it not in a way that probably client saw it.
Hmm.
So was for me, as I said, I was young and naive, and it was probably like cold shower for me that you need to confirm. You need to confirm the stuff with the client. You need to do what you was asked, not what you want, but what your client want. So this is the first thing, but as I said, is not necessarily to the Salesforce. Second thing is Salesforce related. We were doing the integration. We're trying to integrate live, or do the live integration there, but there was an issue. And the biggest issue was that we had three systems that we needed to integrate between.
Hmm.
And we did a solution. I was involved in this solution. We were a team of the three Salesforce developers, and this solution didn't work. We corrupted about probably 150,000 of the client records, and that was bad. That was bad. And the third thing, this is something was that I was leading the project, and I've accidentally sent an email to the customers that should not receive them. So, yep. But each of those things made me more and more thankful on my actions. Uh, it made me probably more accurate in my actions. I'm thinking twice between moving any logic to production environment. Uh, I'm After all of those, I've started to make more tests, more stress tests to the system to understand all of the impacts that could occur there. So uh, I had a failures, but a good thing that result of my failures is experience, and that I do not do those mistakes second time. Probably did, but let's imagine that you did not heard this last line.
Okay, so you did accept those mistakes, and
Yeah,
um,
definitely. I accept them.
that's perfect.
I worked through them, and I gained the experience to, if not to not do them, not do those mistakes anymore, but I already knew how to mitigate them more efficiently, more quickly, and once again, if not make them, but to mitigate any consequences for the business of those mistakes. Yep, that's that was a rough ride through the last 10 years of my development experience. After you
Okay,
ask this question, all of that appears, like all of
sometimes
those that happened.
sometimes it's useful to look retrospectively at your experience to see if there's anything you could do better now, or at least should be proud of your actions, or should be at least proud of your experience. Could you have imagined who would you become 10 years back?
No, definitely I could not imagine who I would become because at that time, that's I was like I was gr- I was a graduate. I've graduated college, and my my head was totally empty. So I was trying to do something, and I would say it was some kind of a luck. I'm still after all those years. I don't know is this luck was good or bad, but it was a luck that I ended up here, and I would say pretty much I like what I have. I like what I do. I love my job, and I'm really interested with the upcoming years, what will come next, what I will see. I really like that I became tech involved, like involved in the all of those technology, especially like for the last years, how all things are growing and development in such fast pace. So I'm glad to be part of this, all of this, at least somewhat a part. Because I also helping to develop like the all of those technologies for the people to use them. That's a good thing to feel about yourself. I wouldn't say that I'm changing the world, that I'm I save some kind of the tech savior. No, definitely not. Uh, but still, I'm doing my part to do this work a little bit better and a little bit easier for the people. Yep, that's probably the end of my thought on the experience and all the rest. Uh, Not sure that I can share something on this topic, but probably you have anything else that uh, you would like to hear from me.
Well, actually, my list of questions is over. Um, yeah, thank
That
you,
that's
Oleg.
that's a bummer. I wanted to talk more. I hoped for more.
If there's anything you think useful for somebody to hear about the Salesforce development, feel free to share right now because, yeah, there's someone listening to that podcast could be thinking right now that, yes, Salesforce development is a great thing or it's a bad thing, and you could guide them, right? Or if there is someone who's trying to implement Salesforce and deciding what the best approach is here, yeah, they might find it useful um, if you have anything to share.
Yep. So probably with the if someone is just trying to understand the Salesforce and how it works, go through the Salesforce cookbooks as well. You will you will see the code samples, uh, and this is regarding the backend part. You will see the solutions, you will see code samples. Uh, when you are wanting to work with implement something on the Salesforce UI, refer to the Salesforce Lighting Design System components. It has also pretty good library of already ready to go code you need to only apply it to your project. For the, let's say, for the people that once already work with the Salesforce, they have a huge project to implement. Try consider to use the Financial Force framework, Financial Force for Developers. It has a robust system to provide some kind of a unification for your unit testing. And unit test, this is something that Salesforce requires on a once again on any other language. It's probably just the requirement from your supervisor, but Salesforce will not allow you to move any code to the production without the unit tests. So consider to write good unit tests from the start, because when you go deeper in the project, the more and more complex your logic will become, and the changes that you need to implement within the unit test will be more and more heavy, will become more and more heavy lift. So try to try to write good unit tests from the start. It will help you on the later stages of your project.
And the last question here, what is the most important best Salesforce practice that you have in mind?
Think twice when you are creating another custom object. Do not create new custom object if you can reuse existing one. Salesforce have record types, so you can customize if it's pretty similar function to what you already have. Just use the new record type instead of creating new object. So
Okay.
I've pretty much I always see that for each individual small thing, new object is created, and that's a bummer. That's not that's not what I like to see.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you, Oleg, for connecting with me today. That was super exciting to chat with you about anything around Salesforce and your
Yeah,
experience and your discipline, motivation, and other important things.
yep. That was a really nice talk. So thank you for inviting me to this talk. I hope see you once again someday.
Sure. Why
Yes.
not? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.